Good afternoon, everybody. This is Friday, the 30th of March. Now, been working since early this morning, and I've had my grandson Dominic to help me. And what we've been doing, we've been cleaning out the big drain. Well, in permaculture terms, it would be called a swale, except that because permaculture was created initially in Australia where there's lack of water, and so swales help to keep the water on the land. Here in Ireland, of course, we don't have a lack of water, we have an excess of water. So the swale or the drain actually takes the water away, but in such a way that all erosive material, all soil that's been eroded and washed down into it can later be saved. So this is what we've been up to today, and as you can see, there's a little bit left to clean out going up this way, but generally the water is now flowing, and Dominic has been shoveling all this out, all the silt, masses and masses of silt, which is fantastic. I've been cutting back the willow and the various trees and trimming them back. So, and also laying a lot of the branches here on the path, because obviously to build up the paths and make the paths more walkable. So you can see this beautiful rich black earth, this silt. And that was right up to the very top of this drain. And now, of course, it's up on the lower bank. So we stacked it all up on this bank here on the left, because this is the slope. The slope goes up that way and comes down. So build up this bank, and that helps even better to keep the water in. So the water, of course, flows all the way along here and eventually then down through the ponds. So what we'll do, we'll just walk the waterway now so I can show you just how successful this morning's work has been. So all this beautiful silt, of course, has been stacked up around the trees and the shrubs that I've put in here. But I'm going to be planting some nice flag iris here into this silt and planting other shade-loving plants along this bank. It's very important when you have any kind of a system to carry water away like this, that you plant the banks, because that helps to keep the integrity of the water flow going, and also stops that constant erosion. So here you can see the water pouring out from a very small drain that was dug 13 years ago. I hand dug that little drain there, and that's pouring out then into this ditch, into this swale. Where I'm walking at the moment has got very, very wet because this ditch has been overflowing for most of the winter. In fact, the ditch itself hasn't been cleaned out since it was originally dug out. So we're talking 13 and a half years. So here we are, we're going along. I'll just show you. Now I've got a bit more pruning to do, obviously. But you can see along here the water flow. There's a good water flow going on there. So this is the very wettest part that I'm walking on now. Oh, you can hear the squelch. Okay, and I've been doing a bit of a chop and drop there, going into the fairy wood. So you can see now Really good water flow, and I'm just looking down there towards the end of it, which we'll walk to in a moment, and you can see that water flow. It's fantastic. In fact, it's so good. Look, Jack is actually drinking some of the water from it. So you can see some of the pruning that I've done. There'll be a bit more work to do here tomorrow before we're finally finished on this stretch. I'm going to show you 2 trees that I planted here just a few days ago, which is what got me focused, you know, got my energy focused on this area, because I thought, okay, I've planted these 2 trees into this space. It's been long overdue to plant them. So I planted a beech tree here, and this little tree here is a little oak. Davina, thank you Davina, that's the little oak Davina gave me a couple of months ago. So got those into this space, so you can see all the pruning that I've done. Now, wonderful flow, but we're going to come back up along this drain tomorrow, and we're going to kind of scoop a bucket along and collect all the rest of the silt that's here. But you can see, look, you can see that flow. Very important when you have wet land to ensure that the drainage system works well, and it's not just, you know, diverted off into nothing, but the silt is collected. So that flow there, of course, is coming from the spring well. This is coming from just the land. But you can see how clean the water is coming off here, which means that it is dropping all that silt into the drain. So it's going to be probably a few more days' work down here. But I'm very pleased with what we've done so far. So just follow the waterway around. So this bank as well, did a lot of clearing on this bank over the course of the winter, and removed all the brambles. And again, I'm very pleased with the way this is shaped up, because I've kept the integrity of the old bank there, the old hedge and bank, and you can see some lovely ferns in there. And look at this, we've got some beautiful little celandines. Look at that lovely celandine. And we've got some primroses coming up there. There's all these trees I've planted. And then here, look how clean that water is as it flows down there. Now just follow the water all the way around. So you can see here, look, where we've been chopping and just really giving all the trees a chance to grow by taking out the stuff that was overpowering the rest. So you can see along here, look at this. Excellent water flow. Lots of honeysuckle growing there on the bank. We'll go along here. And this is where this little stream that John with his digger dug out 13.5 years ago. You can see where it comes round. See, look, every so often I put stones, and that's where a lot of the kind of silty and leafy deposits then build up, so I can easily scoop those out. So I'm just going to hold on to this branch while I cross this. Whoop! A bit wibbly wobbly. So you can see there, this water's going all the way around now to the silt pond, which is another spot at which the water slows down and gives it a chance to drop that silt. So you can see where it's coming through here, running all the way down through there. We just follow it all around. This gives you a really good chance to see how effective a good water system can be. It's effective for draining the land. It's effective for catching silt and making sure that there's no erosion leaving the land. So by the time this water exits my land, all the soil or silt that has been washed into it has been collected here and stays here. So we'll just come up around here. We'll look back up the waterway. There we go. See? Superb flow on that. And all the way down through, look, where it's able to drop silt. Finally goes into the big pond and around the way here. Now this is one of these practical videos that may be of benefit to people who have this kind of an issue on their land where they have waterlogged areas and lots of water that you need to literally harvest. So you're not just harvesting the water, but you're harvesting what's in the water and what the water carries down. And then you're also, of course, creating habitat. You're creating masses of habitat. Because when you look here in the pond at all the frog spawn, there you can see how the habitat's working perfectly. So I bring this right all the way across. This is a very, very long pond. Takes up about half the width of the land. Bring it right over to the actual driveway, which is the perimeter of my property, and then allow it just to swoop round. And then this is where it leaves, begins to leave. It's running down along the side of the driveway. So we'll go out onto the driveway, and I'll just bring this camera all round. So we'll follow this waterway. You can see it there, just behind the trees and the shrubs. Again, all the roots of everything that I've planted is holding the banks in place, so giving lots of integrity to that earth. Jack? Jack? You naughty boy, get up that driveway. Go on. Look at him. Hang your head in shame. You naughty boy. He mustn't see me laughing. He just does love cars. And he's actually learned how to just sit and, you know, just watch them really. But I'll close the gate, and that way then he knows he can't go out. So, okay. I'll just come through here, and there we go. So the water's coming down through what is a kind of a small wetland. And again, I actually hand dug all this out to create a wetland environment, because again it gives yet another form of habitat to Bealtaine Cottage. And then it's coming out and down there, and you can see where it has literally worn away the earth. So it's gone down into like a big natural kind of crevasse that the sheer force of the water has sculpted out. So you can just see there where all the foam is, where it's kind of settled into that big pool, and it goes all the way down underneath all that greenery. And then just about 10 foot in from the driveway. Underneath the driveway are huge big pipes that I had put in I actually had them put in about a year after I had this work done, because the flow of water was so great once I discovered and dug out the spring well. So it's carried all the way down this way. There's a ditch going down there to a natural kind of dip in the land, and then it goes underneath the road in pipes, and then it goes out into a stream. And I don't know if you can see that oak tree there, just through. That's part of an old ferry fort, and the water goes down in a great big sort of gullied stream down past the ferry fort, all the way down through the valley and into the River Fearish. The River Fearish connects in with the Shannon, the Great River Shannon, and the River Shannon then empties into the Atlantic Ocean. So when it leaves this land at Bealtaine, the water is clean, the silt has already been harvested from it, and there's absolutely no pollution. It's just good to go on its way to the Great Atlantic Ocean. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it can be of some use. And especially within the permaculture community here in Ireland, where we do have obviously a lot of rain and excess of water. Now, just to say one other thing, further up the land, at the very back of my land, is another ditch, which is identical in length and identical in width and depth to the one that I showed you, and that connects in the same way as the one I've shown you. So I'm just going to keep this running because the battery light is flashing, and you know me, I'll just keep it running till it's gone. So it was wonderful working down here this morning. Great fun being with one of my grandsons and just seeing how big and strong he's got and how hard he works. He's very much like myself. He's quite, start the job and just keep going. Don't stop until it's finished. So we work well together. And of course, now because of the sale of my books, I'm able to pay him as well, which is important because it just affords me that independence, that I can actually employ my grandson and encourage him to work and earn money like that. So, this is the permaculture loop explained in terms of water. And this particular bird has followed me around all day, singing that beautiful song. There's looking down into the fairy wood. Oh, he's got his donut. He says, "Look, Mummy, I'm not a bad boy. I've got my donut and I'm going to play with it." Of course, he was delighted to see Dominic this morning. He just loves the young males to turn up. Because that's what he is, you see. He's a young male. So he sees them as his pack mates, Now, there's the other thing. I got 2 benches, so as I say, whenever I earn money, I reinvest it. I reinvest it here on the land. I reinvest it in what is Bealtaine Cottage. Okay, I think that's it. Blessings to you all.